The Earth is growing. That's a matter of fact. In fact, if you look up cosmic dust, you'll find out that some 60 tons, believe it or not, yes, 60 tons. That's 2,000 pounds times 60. What is that? That's 120,000 pounds? Yeah, I think I got that right. 120,000 pounds of cosmic dust. So the Earth is expanding. It's growing. It's getting bigger. We got Insane McCain. I don't know who coined that term for him, but that's perfect. It's absolutely fitting. This guy, the stuff this guy talks about, and here's a guy that I used to respect, but I can't stand anymore. You got your Chuck Schumers out there who seem very convicted in their beliefs. And it's like, that's the most puzzling part, is that somehow you got to reach these people and say, wait a minute, sit them down and make them listen and say, do you really believe that about this? Okay. And your Pelosi's out there and your Maxine Waters. Okay. They sicken me. All these people that the mainstream media, fake stream media vaunts as being worthy of listening to me, they're the most unlistenable, invalid people to listen to. But nevertheless, this is what we get. And the mainstream media, the Decepticon media, perfected what they're doing. I guess, like they say, practice makes perfect, right? Alex Jones had this clip with this high-level Dutch banker that was starting to break down in tears because he was unwilling to get involved in, child sacrifice. He said he was fine with these hanging out, these elitists, compromising each other with rooms full of naked women and all this. But when it came down to that, he broke down. He couldn't go through with it. So I guess he was ousted from the organization. This is a tough time. People wonder why population is down. Well, that's economic tyranny. People understand intuitively. The Anglo-Saxon, the westernized people, we understand this. This is what happened during the Great Depression. People stopped having kids. When you get economically tyrannized, people are afraid. And the Bible talks about a time when people would ask the mountains to cover them, and it says in that same passage, it talks about happy is the barren womb that never bore children, and that the breast that never nursed. That's interesting, intriguing stuff, that here so many people believe we're living in the last days before the end of the age and the beginning of the new age, and we're seeing these Bible prophecies being fulfilled before us. At the end of the book of Daniel, because Daniel's only a 12-chapter book, very short chapters at that. But in 12:4 Daniel, he talks about a time when men are running to and fro, and here we're getting on jets and going everywhere at the drop of a hat, running to and fro, a time, and then in these latter days when knowledge would be greatly increased upon the earth. And technology is knowledge, and knowledge is also exposing these evildoers. So yes, man, I mean, these prophecies, this is at the end, and the book of Daniel was prophecy that was concealed to be understood at the end of the age. People didn't understand it, but it's in there. It talks about all these kings of the earth coming together and fighting with each other, and what's going on with the war, and what it's all leading to. It's leading to the return of Christ, to the end of the age and the beginning of a new age. On immigration, we need to redirect our focus onto the leadership of any and all nations with excessive migration. We should ask these leaders, what the hell is their deal? So get the focus off. Why does mainstream media not ever talk about any of these nations with excessive migration? Let's confront the leadership of Mexico and say, what the hell is your problem? Take care of your own damn people. Okay, this is what needs to be done. And the greatest thing that can come from Trump's wall is that it's a wall of humiliation to Mexico. It's going to, it's a thorn in their side. Say, hey, we got to do something for our own people. Okay. Great. Mexico's an awesome country. I would love to be able to go live down there. Okay, I'd love to. Their cost of living is much cheaper than ours. And everybody knows how much I love low taxes and low cost of living, so yeah. We got a local program here in Butte County I just heard about, where these prisoners go through this program and they're guaranteed housing. So these criminals get housed before the veterans. How do you like that? So I guess here's the takeaway, right? You go commit a crime, go through the program, and you're guaranteed housing. So in order to be housed as a man these days, if you can't afford it, otherwise, you've got to be a criminal. Is that messed up? But they say recidivism is very low from these programs, which saves the taxpayers a lot of money. So you take away what you want from it. Oh, yeah, that motto that Alex Jones had was shatter the left-right paradigm. That's what got me hooked on the show. But it seems like there's too much of this villainization of the left and not enough discussion of the virtues, because both sides have their virtues and both sides have their failings, okay? And that's what we need to come together on. Just take the virtues of both philosophies and come together as Americans, because we're divided as hell right now, and Satan's just having a good old belly laugh, delighting in our division. And we can't stand that anymore. We got to turn this thing around, man. Be polite. Be respectful. Convince people. Don't condemn them. I know it's hard. And it feels like you're beating your head against the wall. I feel like I'm beating my head against the wall when I explain the same stuff over and over again. I just tell people, look, minimum wage has fallen so low, okay, relative to the cost of living. Don't you understand? This is how they're stealing our wealth. This is how they're destroying the nation. And if you don't give somebody a commensurate pay adjustment, then you are endorsing, you are condoning, you are justifying a perpetual pay decrease. Because mathematically speaking, there's no difference. If you don't get a commensurate pay adjustment, then you got a pay decrease when your cost of living keeps going up. So what is so radical about that? And who would ever want to debate me on that? You're not going to win. You can't win because it would defy logic. It would defy mathematics. It would defy reason. It would defy sense. What I'm saying is true and valid. I know what I'm talking about here. We got to come together, folks. Alex had a clip on his show of this guy, this older guy, I guess in his 60s he looked like, and this woman, they were debating each other, but it quickly got ugly because the woman was anti-free speech. She thought that it's okay to shut down Ann Coulter and, suppress Alex Jones. She was mad that Alex Jones had brainwashed her son in her mind. And so this guy started getting very defensive, and the whole thing was really an ugly exchange. I still gave it a thumbs up because I admire the passion of the woman, for one thing, to stand there and talk with this guy, because not a lot of what people call, they label the lefties, communist, socialist types, they don't want to debate the capitalist, conservative types. So, but the guy got nasty. I mean, he really did. And, at one point, but he was bold, and he got in this one guy's face. She had this companion with her. The guy was probably 6'3", maybe 200 pounds or more. And he got right in the old guy's face, and he looked like, it was touch and go, man. The guy could have killed him easily with one punch to the head. Okay, but the old guy stood there, stood his ground, got his face, but he started using slurs and using profanity and stuff, so it broke down. It was ugly. It was an ungodly exchange in that sense. Nevertheless, we got to protect speech. It's America. Free speech is the most important thing. That's all we got left going for us, folks, because we're under total economic tyranny at this point. I suggest everybody out there, you go get welfare, okay? Yeah, and if people don't like that, that's tough, okay? But I'm telling you, if you're needy, don't kill yourself, okay? Keep your will to live. Don't give these evil elitists what they want. They want you to lose your will to live. Just be willing to march off to a FEMA camp, death camp, concentration camp, okay? And that's it, for the earth, right? For the earth. So don't do that. So if you're having a hard time feeding yourself, don't be afraid to go get food stamps. If you're having a hard time housing yourself, don't be afraid to go apply at the Housing Authority for Section 8 housing. Okay, so you can say, well, that goes against everything you teach. I say, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's letting the system know it has failed. It's not working, and we're getting desperate here. This is social Darwinian economics in full bloom. and it's not okay. And this train's got to stop, and it's got to get on another track. This ever-growing wealth and income disparity must stop. All this growing extreme poverty must stop. Okay, and we've got to turn this thing around. And God's will is going to be done. And that's what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about any political bent or anything. I could give a crap less. This is not a conservative liberal thing. Plenty of people that prescribe to conservative philosophies are extremely poor too. Let me tell you, it runs the gamut. So just understand what I'm saying here. We got to let the government know, okay, that we need relief. That's what needs to be done. And you say, well, Rich Dad, he's the biggest welfare recipient out there. The guy is getting unfathomably wealthy, fabulously wealthy from welfare. What do you think? It's Section 8. That's who's paying these landlords. Understand, you take away that subsidy, okay, you're going to see your taxes go way down. I'm talking about your cost of living, your cost of housing. And it'll have a chain reaction in reverse. So yes, it would be better if you lived in a community and everybody in the community only had a few bucks to their name. The community could work just fine if they have this bar